Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Mindset Monday. So excited to be here again today. Hope you all had an amazing Memorial Day last week. If you're celebrating that, and hello, hello, hello. I'm going to give everybody a couple of seconds to come in. I want to talk today about, okay, first thing, I just want to let you all know because some people have been asking where are the recordings for this. And you can, right now we are streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube. So you will be able to watch recordings of the Mindset Mondays on the Savvy Painter YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/savvypainter, or on Facebook. On the Savvy Painter Facebook page. So a lot of times I take these recordings and then I turn them into podcast episodes. Sometimes they are there as a full podcast episode, and sometimes I take pieces of them. So I am sort of committed to just like create with all of my creativity processes. I look for how can I show up and create what I want to create with a sense of ease and to make it just, seamless. So for that reason, whether you are with me live on the Zoom and you are in the Savvy Painter private community, or you're just watching on Facebook or on YouTube, that's where you can find it. And it's sort of, for me, it's just like a kind of all one shot. That's how I do it. So with that, I wanted to let you know that today, what I wanted to talk about, this is probably going to be a short talk, but I think it's really, really important. I've noticed that a lot of us are feeling a little bit more unsettled, maybe a little bit raw than we normally are. I know that I have been feeling that way. It's sort of a low level anxiety, or like this heightened sense of awareness, a heightened sense of alert, kind of a what's going to happen next feeling. So much happening in the world. And a lot of it is very disturbing. I was about to say kind of disturbing. It's not kind of disturbing. At least for me, it's very disturbing. So just, the war in Ukraine, mass shootings, seems like every single day in the United States. And even though I'm not there, it definitely leaves me feeling that way. And so what I wanted to talk about today, and what I want to invite you to focus on this week, is bringing in a purposeful sense of calm into your studio. And this is, I talk about this idea often in Growth Studio, the idea that when we go into the studio, we set an intention for what we want to do. And so a lot of times that intention might be, I want to get this done. I want to get this done. It might be like an action-oriented intention. And for me, because I've noticed like this like sort of rising level of that underlying hum that's like kind of very stressful, uncomfortable. It is just like this, like my nerves are on edge. And again, because I've talked to other artists, and I know a lot of people are feeling that way, other artists, other people inside, outside of the art community. So what I wanted to discuss with you today is just the idea of bringing in, setting the intention to bring in a sense of calm and ease, relaxation, whatever word feels right to you. Like just have that, set that intention that, okay, I'm going to, this is how I ensure that my studio truly is a place of sanctuary. And I am very sort of, I guess I want to say vigilant about that, because I just want to make sure that it remains that way for me no matter what. So when I set this intention, I arrive ready to listen to my inner voice. And the way that I can ensure that my inner voice is heard and is there for me is that just purposeful sense of calm, checking in with myself and listening for that purposeful sense of calm, of knowing. It's a feeling for me that I'm home, no matter where I am, no matter what, if I'm in the studio, outside the studio, traveling, doesn't matter where I am. For me, that is the feeling that I get when I am very purposeful and intentional and very present in the studio, in my painting practice. So it's that what I am looking for is that sense of home and that sense of belonging, like this is exactly where I should be right now. So what that might look like is just coming into the studio and just pausing for a second and doing just like a little check-in, and asking like, how am I feeling in my body? What is happening in my mind and what's happening here? What's happening in my body? So the more that I can keep those two things connected, the more I am able to listen to that inner voice that we're always looking for. And the more I'm able to just drop into that presence and be at just be able to access all of my higher creativity, all of the things that we look for and we need in the studio. So what's happening in my mind, right? So sometimes we just, if you have a set schedule for painting, you might be like, okay, it's time for me to go into the studio. I'm going to, you just kind of walk in, and when we're not conscious of it, when we're not aware, we're kind of bringing in everything that has just happened that morning, or that you woke up spinning about, thinking about, whatever that is, whether it is like you just watched the news or read what's going on, or you have things that you've been concerned about, and just like, when you walk in the studio, that check-in, you realize like, okay, I'm really spinning in all of these other things that are not related to the studio. So I am going to, with intention and purpose, set them aside, just let them go. I thought that might happen. I have somebody coming over. That's why this is going to be a short one. Give me 1 second. So sorry about that. I'm going to mute myself. Some things you can keep out of the studio and some things you can't. Okay, so thinking about like what is happening, like what are the things that I'm bringing in with me, right, in the mind. So there's that checking in with the mind. And then there is just feeling what is happening in my body, and making sure that even if I come in and I say like, okay, I'm going to focus on my artwork, I'm going to leave all those things behind, you can kind of get a sense if you've actually been able to do that when you check in and you feel it in your body. And so it's just this moment of like, just making sure that here and here, there's a connection, and that we get them as much in alignment as we can. And so sometimes that might just be like taking a moment to sort of like take a deep breath, which it is taking a deep breath is the thing that we learned in kindergarten, but there's actually a physiological response that happens to that. When you slow your breathing down, when you actively take in that a lot of oxygen and you take in and you take that deep breath, you're kind of telling your body we're safe. I'm safe. This is all okay. So that's why the deep breath is so important. Taking the deep breath and just like consciously saying like, I can be relaxed here and now in my studio. I want to create this sense of calm in my studio on purpose, right? So that's the intention, and that is how like a few ways that you can actively cultivate setting the intention and then creating that that space for you to be able to paint, and to be able to paint from that sense of that sanctuary, that sense of like, okay, in here in this space, I am going to make sure that I have created this sense of calm and relaxation so that I have access to my creativity. I have access to my all of the ways, all of the thinking that we need in order to create our paintings and to create the work that we want to create. And we're leaving out the things that block that. And the things that block that are the racing thoughts, that the whatever anxiety that we bring in, whether it is from the news cycle, whether it is from things that are happening in the home, whether it is worries and concerns about where is my art career going, things like that artists tend to spin on. What we want to do is just say like, right now, I'm setting the intention. I am in the creative mode, meaning I am painting. I am not in this other space where I need to be concerned about like what's happening in my art career. Right now, I am just going to relax and paint. And all of those worries and all those concerns that bring up the stress levels that end up blocking our creativity, I'm going to actively just set them aside. They'll be there anyway later on. Don't have to worry about it. They're not gonna, like if they're important, you can deal with them later. And I am going to create the space where it is safe for me to just be with the painting, to be present with the marks that I'm making, to be open and curious about what it is I'm creating on my canvas, and everything else can just wait. All right. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk with you about. It is so important to, I think, to set intentions when we go into the studio, to set intentions about the painting. So I just was feeling like these last couple of weeks, I think for all of us, have been like a higher than normal level of stress and that sort of like anxiety and these heightened levels of like, what's happening next? And to allow you to really purposefully leave that outside the studio door, come into the studio and just have this time, no matter how long it is, even if it's 15 minutes, maybe it's a few hours, maybe it's all day, but to have that time be sacred, because I think that our time with our art and our time as creators, it is very much a sacred time for us. And the more that we protect that, the more that we really actively cultivate this practice of making sure that happens and doing it on purpose with intention. That's how we create the studio practice that allows us to really create from our higher self and to be tuned into our, like, what is my voice telling me? What do I want? What do I see? What do I want to say? What am I trying to communicate with this art? That when all of your energy is focused on that, and we don't have like all these other things that are kind of like pinging us and trying to get our attention are just like spinning in this other area, then we can create from our higher self. Then we can create from this place of truth of who we are and what we want to say. All right. That's what I have for you today. Short and sweet. I think we're like 15 minutes in. Again, if any of you have tuned in late, the recordings of these are automatically on Facebook and YouTube. And again, sometimes I pull stuff from these talks and I put it into the podcast and it will be available there. But if you're somebody who like just came in on the tail end of it, I know that happens sometimes. I know these are quick. Then you can go ahead and watch them later. If you want to take these conversations that we have here and you want to put them into active practice, I want to invite you to join Growth Studio. That's a place where we do weekly coaching, we do weekly critiques. It is an amazing group of artists. You are invited to join us, and you can do that at savvypainter.com/join. All right, have a fabulous week, everybody, and I will see you next Monday. Ciao, ciao.